Jess, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you. Understand?
Random baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I, too, am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.
Welcome, everybody. What, you didn't think I was just gonna leave you hanging on the edge of your little seats, did you? There's a lot going on in the world, and truth be told, I don't know what I'm more captivated by. You know, coming out of a 7-day long DayQuil/NyQuil fever dream that decided to resurrect today. So giving less fucks than usual. But the battle of the lingerie or the retarded feminist? I think for me, it's the retarded feminist, but we're going to get there. Guys, welcome back to Talk to Me, Taylor, on this Thursday. We got a lot going on tonight. Okay, we got a little housekeeping. I mean, I'm no psychotic, Amanda Seyfried, like no house. Maybe we got a little housekeeping to do. And quick, because there is so much going on, I'm going to try to pack this all in about 10 minutes, but one hot Taylor hot take after the other. Okay, just sandwiched in there, like your Italian combo never good. This actually is like an Italian combo. Sydney, sweetie, what's good? And then if technology doesn't fail us, we are actually scheduled to have the CEO and president of Miss USA, who also absolutely gives no fucks and is iconic, Tom, on for a live in-show interview. And I'll tell him this when he joins. And if and when he joins, I don't see him backstage just yet. I did tell him like 10 after, but I have just taken it upon myself to coin him Miss USA Tom. He need no last name, like MySpace Tom. You know what I'm saying? 2.0. So anyways, okay, quick housekeeping. Okay. Who did it better? Talk to Me, Taylor, or Sydney, sweetie, in the housemaid? No. Okay. Number one, my new series with Winston Churchill's grandson called What Would Churchill Do? Get on it. If you haven't thus far, you're dead to me. And secondly is, if you've missed it, the really awesome campaign I've been spearheading / conversations I've been having all around AI in partnership with a really cool new AI platform, Fetch AI, that I've helped guys truthfully, like from the ground level with the developers, actually help create the product and the tool and then get the message out. But think of it as like a social AI platform. Like you can have your own agent. Your agent can interact with your friends, your family. Like for me, my one friend, i.e. my mom, like make plans. It's like Facebook, The Sims on steroids. So that's that on that. The battle of the lingerie. So Sydney Sweeney comes out with Siren, like Skims knockoff. I didn't say it, you did. No. Here's the thing. Okay, first things first is like it just caused a whole tizzy on the internet. And my thoughts were like, who wears lingerie anymore? I mean, you guys who watch my show know I haven't worn a bra, honey, since like 2022. Okay, no, but that's number one. But this whole debate ensued because Sydney Sweeney has pissed a lot of women off and has garnered a male audience. And will women really buy this? And blah, blah, blah. The debates, everyone got their, viral algorithm clips. Well, guess what, bitch? The line sold out in like 24 hours. And it is a testament to the female base she's garnered, because The Housemaid, which seemed to me like, it's not like this like blockbuster movie. And I actually saw it. I fell victim to the marketing. It was like a one and done. It was entertaining, but it was like, in my mind, The Little Train That Could, in that movie made like $300 million. Yeah. Which is her highest grossing to date. So all that to say, the female base is there. However, and you guys know I flip-flopped a little bit on Sydney Sweeney, right? And I do wonder, like, there's just in my mind, there's something maybe missing. I don't know what it is. Like, people are like, oh, her whole personality is her tits. Da-da. I mean, guys, literally before I hopped on here, like, this was the photo on my feed of her and Cosmo, like, just leaning in like Sheryl Sandberg never could, and leaning out, right? Like, her tits are just everywhere to be seen. But I think about, like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, tits out, brain out. You know my motto. And I love the idea of like the iconic bombshell being back and her really doing that. And there's a part of me that wonders, you know, when the Pam Andersons, iconic sex goddess, right, were around, were women, like, I would love if any, hey guys, I would love if any Gen Xers in the chat who were around, or wow, like, you fucking fossils, no, but who were, and oh my God, I have the funniest text from USA Tom. But anyways, we're around in the Pam era, right? Because now we revere her as this ultimate, like, regardless of age, color, body size, like, she is it. I wonder if it was like that at the time, or if there was that resentment, like we're seeing with the Sydney Sweeneys, right? But either way, look, I saw the ad, and I've thought too, like, Mark, you know, ads she's done in the past with Sydney Sweeney, with leaning into her tits so much and putting them on her head. Like, I always, you know, kind of riffed on them and gave her a little shit for being like super cheesy and low-hanging fruit, no pun intended. And I've kind of turned the corner of being like, girl, fine. Like, and, you know, I've seen hot takes being like, she's an A-list actress. Like, why does she have to do rage bait like this? Whatever. The point is, it's bringing the sex, you know, goddess back. And she's laughing her way to the bank. I've said this before. And I did wonder if Kim Kardashian was going to come out of the woodwork. Hang on, I'm texting Tom, USA Tom. He said, Miss USA Tom, he said, where do I join? I've been up since 4 and at my desk since 4:30 and can barely spell my name. That's okay. We're going to welcome him with open arms, right, guys? I'm going to tell him to join at quarter after. It's okay. Hang on, I got to send him the link. So I had wondered what Kim thought, right? Because Skims is like a multi-million-dollar business, and she marketed it differently. It's not solely like sex lingerie, but it's very much like, it's like Spanx, but make it hot, right? It's like the comfiness, and it's a really good product and all body types. But I wondered if Kim would come out of the woodwork, even like the name, right? Like Siren and Skims, like the couple letters there. But lo and behold, Kim comes out of the woodwork today and posts these hot ass pictures of herself in Skims. It's giving Y2K. The shirt is like, she's wearing this tight little shirt. It's like You Wish with a thong. And I'm like, is this the battle of the lingerie? Either way, I'm here for it. Shit. Like, let's go. Free market, you know, freeing their ass cheeks. They're both hot. I'm just here for it. You know, whatever. Hang on. I'm sending Tom. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Like, I saw the girls from Chicks in the Office be like, I don't know, like, if Sydney's lingerie is marketed to, like, are girls actually gonna buy it, or are they resentful? Like, if their guys buy it for them, that will give me the ick. It's like, who cares? And I'll be honest with you, what I was gonna say before is, as I my blonde brain on Dayquil for days on end multitask, I relate to garnering a male audience, you know, and I thought about that with Sydney Sweeney. I relate to that for sure. So, and I'm really proud, right, to have actually achieved that, like, strike, for me at least. I don't know about her, but strike that 50-50 balance, because I always kind of knock the, like, yay, rah, rah, feminists, we're all speaking to each other, call her daddies. I'm going to get to that. He said, I am brain dead. How to do a podcast. He'll okay. Tom, you got this. May the forces be with you. I'm going to check up on your comments in a minute. So yeah, and like I said, she looks, I was like, shit, I want a lingerie line. Like, let's go. So here for it. Not going to knock it. She looks hot. Okay. So to sandwich the battle of the lingerie and the retarded feminist is ice. I mean, what do we love more than a lingerie ice sandwich, right? Just a really quick, you know, take here, because there is so much going on. So look, guys, I mean, here's how I kind of boil it down, right? both sides have like sensationalized this. It's so heated and it's so intense. I definitely can't stand the hypocrisy on both sides and how both sides look the other way. I understand where the right and where Trump is coming from. Like, this is an issue that has gone on far too long, has poisoned our country, quite literally raped and murdered, our innocent women, the drugs running rampant, just all of it. Like, we have to get it out of here. It's illegal. And, and I get the idea. It's like, we can't, make an exception for one and like, laying down the law of the land, like, don't fuck around and find out. Right. Because if I do it for one, I have to do it for everybody. But then, like, on the other end of it, it's like they look the other way because they go so hard. It's like brushing all of that under the rug, right? In the name of immigration and all this. And the part that drives me crazy, and nobody, like, between Renee Good, the 37-year-old nurse, like, all that in Minneapolis, like, it's all so heightened that, of course, you're going to have now, like, the quote unquote protesters, rioters are, heightened and aggressive. You have, the ICE agents who are extra trigger happy and, navigating. It's just all heightened. Has it gotten out of hand? Absolutely. Like, those two cases absolutely did not need to happen. Like, it is definitely way too aggressive. It is way too far. And at the end of the day, hell is about to freeze over. Okay. Talk about ice. I'm basically like defrosting from a fucking ice sculpture here in Nashville. Hell would freeze over right now because I actually agree with Ilhan Omar about this one thing. And that's that. Oh, Tom is in the chat. Yeah. And that's that Trump does lack the basic compassion and humanity. It's like, to me, what drives me crazy too is like, the just aggressive and unnecessary, like, dealing with ripping people out of their cars, people who have been here for decades, working hard. Like, it's just not necessary. And the lack of like basic humanity and compassion there, it's like no morsel is shown. And that's what drives me crazy about it. So, we'll see what happens. Again, like, path to citizenship. Yes, we are the melting pot. You guys know my mom's off the boat from Italy, but we got to do it the right way. Now, is all this violence, okay? Absolutely not. A quick thing off of that is Erica Kirk or Nikki Trump. Erica Kirk, let's do Erica Kirk because we're talking about violence. I'm trying to do these hot takes even hotter and faster. People like Candace Owens dissecting Erica Kirk's every move. There's a new like audio viral now going around of Erica Kirk 11 days after Charlie was shot, talking about like, the attendees and the outpouring and all the merch sales and all this. And people are like, who acts like this as a widow? I think that it is fucking weird. Why do you guys have this weird little fetish with Erica Kirk? Maybe she is celebrating that her late husband in such a short time in the aftermath of the tragedy did have such reach and impact. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe Candace, and this is from a former Candace Owens fan, like, maybe she's just a vindictive, opportunistic a-hole. Like, why are we looking too much into it? It is weird. Erica Kirk's not weird. You guys are weird. Get that shit checked out. Okay, Nikki Trump. This whole thing is hilarious. And this is actually going to be perfect to bring us into like the faux feminism and feminism hypocrisy and all that on both sides for Miss USA Tom. So you guys probably have seen like Nicki Minaj, Trump's like bar mitzvah rapper, like heard around the world. To me, I mean, the whole thing is just right. It's hilarious because it's like our culture is a meme. I don't know what else to tell you, but also just like the ego stroking. Like, she's like, he's my favorite president. And he, because he does have a massive ego, like is smiling ear to ear, could not be happier. Is hilarious. But it also shows you like, even though he lacks like so much basic human compassion, is so charismatic. Like, there's a clip going around of him, introducing her, and he's like, wow, like everyone's so excited by her. He's like, you guys forget it, I'm even here. But moreover, right, the debate about like the hypocrisy from the right, because had she been on the other side and not tooting Trump's horn. All we would hear about, I mean, Charlie Kirk threw her under the bus when he was alive, right? All we would hear about is how she's, degrading as a woman and too sexualized and blah, blah, blah. So that, amnesia from the right, we've seen it with the Sydney Sweeneys of it all. She's nude in Cosmo right now. So I'd love to see what conservatives have to say about that, which brings me to last but not least, but again, like everyone has amnesia when it's convenient to them. That's what I have to say about that. Last thing is Alex Cooper having the literal biggest balls on the planet to have not to have Michelle Obama on her podcast, fine, but after the fact go on this whole TikTok rant that literally nobody asked for, ranting and raving about how women in the United States, and I quote, don't have equal rights. Like, bitch, your whole podcast is predicated on literally talking about your labia. You want to talk about Iran? The uprising and the revolution going on right now where you're murdered in the street for showing a strand of hair? Like, get the biggest grip and knock it off, which I talked about with Winston Churchill's grandson in our latest episode. So it just drives me absolutely insane. Quick comment here before I bring on Tom. Cool channel. Do you provide product reviews? Ken, why are you trying to send me some Siren or Skims? I will happily take it. I do want that new Skim shirt that Kim showed. Good slogan. Guess what, bitch? Exactly, John Legend. Like, knock, knock, bitch. We're back. You know that. Pan was likable to everyone in Gen X, right? Yeah. So something about Sydney Sweet, I don't know. Something about it, right? I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's like the Pam had just the effortless, like, I'm hot. Is Sydney trying too hard? I don't know. Getting my dose of Taylor while letting my feet thaw out. No, straight up, and our brains thawing out. I meant what you say, Sweeney. Guess what, bitch? It's sold out. Yeah, exactly. So never ceasing to amaze us. Okay, Tom, if you're ready, I'm going to bring you on Miss USA Tom. Dun, 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 dun. He's beauty and he's great. He did not ask for my singing voice. Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
How are your brain cells doing today? I read your text to the stream, so we all know we're all hanging by a thread.
Oh God, now
today.
everybody's aware. Okay, fine. It is what it is.
No, you're Mr. Congeniality. You can do it all.
Sometimes, some days.
Tom, so we've talked on the phone. This is our first time talking in person.
Yes.
And you weren't earlier. I told my audience that I have coined you. Remember MySpace, Tom? Like, iconic. You're Miss USA Tom. That's just how I'm going to introduce you. Like, no last name needed.
Right.
CEO, president of Miss USA Tom. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, I'll get by with a little help from all my friends from a branding perspective. It's fine.
No, exactly. We're here for you. Okay. So first things first is I would love for you to just kind of give us a shameless plug your own street cred. I'm talking like OG, GoDaddy, the whole sitch.
Oh gosh. So I was born on a day. No, I'm kidding. So 30 plus years of a career in consumer technology. So I was the first head of marketing at GoDaddy. Left there and did a bunch of other tech companies, including but not limited to MarketWire, which ultimately wound up being sold to NASDAQ and is now Globe Newswire. So one of the biggest distributors of press and earnings releases. We've done some fun things along the way relative to early stage tech startups, whether in e-commerce or B2B, B2C SaaS platforms, and pageantry and the Miss Universe and USA brands have been a part of my life since I was a very small boy. We can get into a little bit of that later. But I've gotten to spend the better part of the last 30, 35 years building brands that people use every day or that people are aware of and know of. And hopefully are going to be able to bring some of that talent to bear for a 75-year-old IP icon called Miss USA.
Okay, first of all, stop being so modest because when we talked on the phone, you were like, oh, everyone's catfish because we have really good profile pictures, but like I'm older now, you're so hot. I'm like, what, where's the line? Like false advertising. But also, you're being so modest, tell everybody, even like the huge GoDaddy campaign and Danica Patrick, like just a little bit so people, the full picture.
Well, I was lucky to be a part of a leadership team. I was, I think, the fourth or fifth executive in the business, and I was lucky to be a part of the organization when it was transitioning away from a technology company name nobody knew into becoming, what is now the dominant player in domain registration, web hosting. There's like 100,052 products now that didn't exist when I was there. But I got to be part of that journey through the organization's sort of come up in the very, very early days before the interwebs controlled our lives. And we were all just sort of trying to figure out how to spell it. And that was a lot of fun. But I also, interestingly, was excited to leave there and try other things. I did not have the foresight that had I stayed longer, I'd be worth a lot more money than I am now. So, you live and you learn, but it is, it was part of my journey, and it's one I'm very proud of. And I still maintain great relationships from all the way back then. And it's been an exciting time to sort of even watch that business evolve past its original founder, Bob Parsons, through a number of CEOs. The globalization of the business has been really exciting to see. And when you think about, I remember standing literally at a water cooler in a small little office on Gainey Ranch Road in Scottsdale, Arizona, while we were trying to cook up what this was going to be.
So, okay, tell us about, because you obviously were, and people now advise you to really lean into this. And you're like, what does it matter? But we talk about offline how you're like the anti-token, how you accomplished so much so early as a gay man. And you're like, okay, why do I need like a banner on my head? I just was doing what I had to do, work hard, throw me in with competition with everybody else, whereas now it's like the token quota participation trophy. So talk about that a little bit and why you're like, your philosophy and your experience of like, it's not a big deal. Because I think that's so refreshing. I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's not make it a thing as I have you talk about it. No,
as we talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. I've often been on the opposite side of most sort of mainstream movements toward a thing, but I was raised by a single mother. My mother was an Air Force sergeant during the Vietnam War when she and my father were married. Wow. and she got pregnant on military issued birth control. So I was apparently part of the placebo group, and wound up, being born. And back then in the late 60s, I was born in 1969. So for those of you who are out there mathing, 56 years old, you couldn't raise a child on a military base. So my mom had to choose a career in the military and outsource parenting to her parents or an aunt and an uncle or whatever, or to be my mom. And she chose to be my mom. Thankfully, that was a good path for me. But she was really tough with me. She was my only parent. So she had to be mom, she had to be dad. And there was no such thing as participation trophy in our house at all. Everything came from, by hook or by crook. You worked hard, you figured it out. I was diagnosed with severe dyslexia and hyper ADHD at the age of 8.5. And instead of putting me on Ritalin and medication and all the things, we went to Hooked on Phonics. And I spent 2 to 3 hours a night learning how to write, learning how to read, how to slow down so that I could process cognitively how to take a next step. And so what I learned through all of that then was that labels are only as good as what you do with them. And I never felt like being an only child was a thing I needed to announce coming in the door, or being a gay man was the thing I needed to announce in order to be successful at something, or in order to be considered for something, or leaning into something that made me different or unique because maybe I'd get sympathy for that. Maybe I would get consideration for that. Maybe I would get preferential treatment for that. There was no such thing as that. So I just looked at it and thought, well, it doesn't matter that I'm a gay man. I'm a smart man. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter that, and I don't ever mean to, there's this concern about well, it's easy to say, you're a white male, and so therefore you have privilege. And that is probably true in a lot of ways. I didn't grow up in an advantaged environment. I grew up in near poverty kind of circumstances. But I just never thought that those circumstances defined me. And neither did any of the labels that others wanted to use for me. So I never used them myself.
Boom. Mic drop. So much truth in that. And, we have talked about this offline, and I so relate. We've said, like, even as a woman, I'm like, I don't want anything handed to me. Like, throw me in. And with the competition, with the boys, whatever it is. And also to think that it's like, I'm a gay man, but I'm white and I'm privileged. Like, I always think I'm like, wow, people in the Freddie Mercurys are rolling in their grave today. Like, it's so crazy. And it shouldn't even come down to that, right? But the fact that it's like, the idea of meritocracy, like, regardless of background, that idea gets so much flack now. Like, this is just
look, Taylor, I was one of those kids who, I say kid, I was 21 years old. I was a junior in college, and I'd run out of money. I had no more grant money available to me. That I had already maxed out my student loans. Like, they were like, nope, no more. And the Reagan administration had passed affirmative action. And so what it effectively did for student aid, if you were a white male, it completely changed the calculus that I had relied on for the 3 years prior. So if I had been a woman, if I had been a person of color, if I had been a person of indigenous or native upbringing in the US, I would have had a kind of benefit for my education my senior year. It just happened to be that in some ways it almost became like a reverse discriminatory kind of thing. And I knew it wasn't intentional. So I didn't take it that way. I was like, oh,
right.
they hate white men and we're not allowed to go to college now. I never thought that. I was just like, okay, I have to pivot and I have to figure out how to get through school. And that was it. Like, it wasn't ever, woe is me, or now what am I going to do with my life? It was, well, figure it out, because that's what I was raised to do.
It's so crazy. It's such a domino effect, because now it's like the own movements that like stampede on women. Like, it all just is like a domino effect that eats itself, and basically none of the math is mathing, to your earlier point. Question for you before we kind of dovetail into Miss USA, because you are all these endeavors, very much are on the pulse of the public, right? And influence the public and work with people of influence. So how do you feel like this whole, you've seen the complete evolution and arc of all of this. How do you feel like it has maybe done more harm than good?
Well, look, I've often said I'm a Libra, so I have this whole
the scales. Yes, how could we forget
the balance thing? And
True,
some people
true.
wish I'd throw them out. Some people wish I'd lose them. But I really do believe that equilibrium is what all things in the universe seek. I have lived that my whole life, and every extreme to one direction or another, political, socioeconomically, or otherwise, will usually always find itself back to the center.
That's true.
Because that's where we live. That is how real life happens for most people. And so I also think that way in the decision-making process as a leader. Is okay, I understand that's an emotionally charged thing. You'll come to a center on it. I'll come to a center on it. We'll find where the common ground is. We'll lean into that really, really hard, do our best work there. And we still get to think and feel differently about things. As long as the things we come together on, we're united about moving them forward. And I think the base case for all of us right now is stop labeling yourselves. Stop putting yourselves in boxes that we've tried to get rid of. Stop coloring yourself with a crayon that people have asked and begged to be thrown out. Like, don't put yourself back into a place that you argued and fought for getting away from.
That part. No, that actual part.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy. So with Miss USA, and you're definitely more, how do I say this? I've heard you off air, and you're a little more diplomat. How do I want to put this? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting at. You're a little more savage off air. Let's just say that, right? So we both have these. Like, how do I say he's diplomatic in the most diplomatic way? But we both, I think, share similarities in that we are very kind of savage, say what we think. So it could seem like rough around the edges, or lacking compassion. Yet we both, I find, and you have to with what you do with Miss USA and the ethos of it, are deeply sympathetic and compassionate and have a humanitarian, drive, right? So
Yeah.
tell us what drives you, even the Miss USA, you've had such a long running history with it. Like, what about it drives you?
Well, I mean, going back to the college situation, pageantry for me, actually, outside of being a fan of it, which is where it sort of starts with everybody. You watch it on TV with your parents, whatever it winds up, whatever your entry point winds up being was a thing. But in that situation where I was a junior in college and I was out of student aid and I had an $11,000 bill I was facing in order to get through school. And by the way, Taylor was the only kid on either side of my family who had even gone to college. So there was also enormous pressure to finish what I started and not fail at it, because that's, again, another part of the ethos of how I was raised. And so, talent manager that happened to be a friend of our family's, and I think she was managed boxers, like professional fighters, was like, have you ever heard of the Mr. Male America scholarship competition? And I was like, what? And she said, have you ever heard of it? It's like Miss America, but for guys. And I was like, nope, I didn't even know pageants for guys existed. And at 21 years old, I entered Mr. Ohio with the hope I might get somewhere. I won Mr. Ohio. I won $500. So I went and bought my books for my last year of school because I had a $480 bill for books. And I thought, step of faith, I have no idea where the other $10,500 is going to come from, but I'm going to give this a shot. 3 months after that, I went to Phoenix, Arizona for the very first time in my life and competed at the national competition. And I beat 42 other guys and I won a $10,000 scholarship that paid for the rest of school. So for me, the industry actually did something in my life as a guy that was completely unexpected, but that changed the whole trajectory and course of my life. I went from there and did a couple of little jobs and then wound up at GoDaddy and then wound up and then wound up and then wound up. Would have never happened had not that moment.
So cool.
Happened for me.
And you know what I love about you and your work? First of all, your whole philosophy, and I couldn't agree more, of not putting yourself in a box or a label, and that's your entire identity. Like, we're all so multifaceted, and that's what's also so counterintuitive about all those causes. It's like, but to your point, it's like you're reducing it, right, to being one dimensional. But that you have a lot of firsts, even with Miss USA. I mean, you told me about the woman who was, I think, in her like 30s or 40s. I think you told me about a woman who something like was the first to wear a hijab, like just things like that are first, but you're not performative or like, see, I always say, like, show us. We don't need a whole like virtue signally pander, like just do it. And that's a flex in and of itself. Like, that to me is like the quote unquote real way. And I really appreciate that. And I don't know if that's cognizant in your work, or, if you're just like the best will rise to the top. Like,
well, I think, Taylor, again, part of just as a person, how I've always operated is if you give your word, you keep your word. If for any reason something changes, some problem comes up, some unexpected circumstance is going to impact your ability to keep your word, talk about it, say so, bring it forward. Like, don't let there be surprises, because you don't have to have them. I mean, there's going to be surprises that will naturally happen, but if you know of something, if you have knowledge of something, you can prevent the surprise from jump scaring someone else, then it's your obligation to do so. So in our case and mine, I came in and said, we're changing a bunch of things that people have known this pageant industry to be all about. And we're going to actually do it as opposed to talk about it. So to me, using the words women's empowerment, that's cute and everything.
That's cute. I need that
It's
on a
cute.
shirt.
I mean, it's
That's
kind
cute.
of
No,
it's
same.
adorbs. It's adorbs to talk about it. Or it's actually better to see the first woman with alopecia, a bald woman, compete
Right.
without hair next to a woman in a hijab and a burkini.
Yes, right.
Has never happened in
Yeah.
the history of Miss USA. And we didn't plan it that way. One was from Nevada, the other was from New Hampshire. They walked out together, and I was like, oh my goodness.
I
was sitting in
love
the audience.
that.
I was sitting in the audience having a history is being made moment in real time that I could not have choreographed or planned it, but God saw it. And I was like, all
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Second runner up at Miss USA, 43-year-old mother of 4, married, runs 2 businesses.
Obsessed.
And I was like, what is going
And you
on?
weren't sitting there with a clipboard like, we need a 43. Like, that's what I have chills with you telling me that. I love it. It's everything I'm about personified. It's like, just walk the walk and be about it. And I love that. Lastly, for you, what, Tom?
Just do the work.
Just do it. Just do it. Okay. Lastly, I 100% need a shirt that's like female empowerment, cute, whatever you say. Because exactly. Earlier in this episode, by the way, your remaining brain cells, mine too, they're doing great. Nobody, like, they should high five right now because they are killing it. I was ragging on, the confusion of the feminists, how they're hypocritical, trip themselves up, like, don't even know, right? Again, like, that's cute. So Miss USA pageantry, it's very controversial still, right? Because it's like, the feminists would argue it's this antiquated male patriarchal thing of women parading around, blah, blah. So tell us kind of your parting, maybe it's a personal anecdote of, you told me about inviting said feminists to come see it for themselves. Like, tell us about that and just what they don't get. What are they missing?
Well, look, I am a firm believer, the Libra in me, have your opinions. Everybody gets to have them. You get to own those. That's fine. But don't be a hypocrite. And here's what I mean by that. If on the one hand, we celebrate women's choice, a woman's right to choose, that isn't just what happens in her ovaries, in her cervix. That isn't the only power of choice a woman has. A woman gets to choose how she wants to demonstrate her femininity, how she wants to demonstrate her power, where she wants to show up in a swimsuit and heels or not, in an evening gown or not, on a golf course or not, in a swimming pool or not. It doesn't matter. If you are truly a feminist that believes in a woman's right to choose, you don't get to tell her whether or not she can choose certain things. And to me, I will, till the day I die, I was raised by a feminist. My mother was one of 2,300 women in any branch of the military in the late 60s that was a high-ranking official. And she would tell you, I still liked being beautiful. I still liked looking a certain kind of way. Yes. I still liked putting on that cute little outfit. I still liked all the things, but I got to choose that for me. So whenever I hear someone say, well, it's an antiquated idea, it's patriarchal, it was an idea invented by men, correct. And oddly enough, it's been run by women for a very long time, this industry has, and women are still empowered to choose it. So you want your daughter to choose, if she wants to choose gymnastics, let her. Figure skating, let her. She wants to be a lumberjack, let her. She wants to compete in a beauty pageant,
a lumberjack.
But you can't be a hypocrite and say, this is what that looks like. And women's choice is what I believe in, as long as it's limited to these things with these restrictions, these binders, and these guardrails. That doesn't work.
So well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. And the crazy thing is how even politically both sides and both extremes are the exact same when it comes to this issue. But as you said, which is so sad, right? With having a one size fits all, which is so again ironic when it comes to women. And like you said, what happened to like the choices or choice? Like it's just it's so beyond me. But to bring it back to what you said in the beginning, the sensible thinking folk were all in the middle of real life. And
Right.
so, yeah.
I had a network exec, Taylor, say to me, a woman who I have enormous respect for, said, well, why on earth are we still, her words, are we still doing beauty pageants where girls
Yeah.
walk around in swimsuits on TV? That's just the objectification, Tom. And I stopped her midstream and I said, hold on a minute. Didn't your network greenlight America's Sweethearts, The Road to Dallas Cowboy Cheerleading? Did you not? And the answer, of course, was yes. And I was like, all right, well, I've seen a fair amount of top boob, bottom boob, side boob, and butt cheek in those little outfits
Right?
that I have not seen in a swimsuit during a Miss USA competition. So I go back to, if your daughter wants to choose to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, are you going to tell her no? If your daughter says, I want to compete for Miss Kansas USA, are you going to tell her no? If your daughter tells you, I want to be the president of the United States, are you going to tell her no? Because it's up to you to make sure she understands that choice is her power.
It's so true. And this is where, again, the extremes need to knock it off because, right, it's like you have the far right being like, why did the feminists don't put us in again, like that idea, like we are equal. Don't make a thing of it. Like it's all good. Like, why are you putting us in a special category yet if women are a certain way? To your point, demonize them. Far left, same thing. Your choice, ladies, except if they're out here being in a bikini. Oh, it's you're objectifying the male gaze and just showing a show and pony dance and the blah, blah, blah. You know it. And it's like,
I'm
you
like,
guys
look,
have all lost the plot.
If you want to go to the beach in Cancun on your next family vacation in a denim outfit from neck to toe, okay. I haven't seen that happen on a beach or at a resort swimming pool in my life yet, but okay, it's possible. But to your point at the top of the call about me not allowing labels, I have a perfectly handsome stepbrother, gorgeous man, beautiful. I've never heard him walk into a room and say, hi, I'm Rob Brodeur and I'm straight. I've never heard him say it. I'm straight. I never walk into a room and say I'm a gay man and I hope somehow that curries some favor with you. I don't care if it curries favor with you, actually.
Well, thank you, Tom, for speaking on behalf of not only like pure feminine power energy, but common sense thinking folk energy. I mean, like I said at the beginning, what don't you do, Mr. Congeniality? That is it for us tonight. Wow. Really something for everybody to sit with and think about. Truer words have not been spoken anywhere on the intranet besides here this Thursday. So Miss USA, Tom, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Guys, have a great night, and I will see you on Monday. Good night.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you on TikTok.
Wear them, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
But I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash